Good morning, everyone. There comes a moment when we must stop looking outward and start facing the truth inwardly. That moment usually appears in the silence of our struggle, when we realize nobody truly understands what we carry inside. That is the first lesson. Nobody cares as deeply about your growth as you might hope. But this is not a reason to be bitter. It is the exact fuel we need. Because in the absence of external validation, we begin to build self-reliance. And that is where real strength begins. Each day we are given the chance to build a new version of ourselves. But that chance will always be wasted if we sit back and wait for someone else to pull us up. Discipline is the rope you must throw down to yourself. Wake up when it is hard. Move when you feel heavy. Choose what is necessary over what is easy. This is not punishment, it is training for a mind that will not collapse under pressure. In silence we discover the true teacher, not in the noise of advice or the rush of the outside world. True growth begins when you sit with your breath, with your pain, with your goals and your failures. Do not fear the quiet. In silence the truth of who you are becomes loud. In silence you can finally hear what your soul has been trying to say. Many people walk around demanding attention, recognition, and applause. But ask yourself, have you earned your own respect first? How can the world value you if you don't value your time, your energy, your body, your potential? Take care of your space. Guard your mind from distraction. Train your body to obey your focus. This is how you develop not just confidence but a presence that speaks louder than words. Transformation is not loud, it is not sudden, it is hidden in repetition, in doing the same movement, thought or habit, until you shape yourself from within. It is like sharpening a blade, not by one strike but by countless strokes over time. Repetition is not boring when your intention is strong. Each time you act with purpose, you become more defined, more powerful, more disciplined. And finally remember this, you don't need applause. You don't need to shout your progress to the world. A seed never screams as it grows on the ground, but one day it breaks through the soil as a tree that provides shelter. Your growth will speak when the time is right. Keep watering yourself, keep doing the work, keep showing up even when no one is watching. The beginning of your personal transformation, the moment you stop waiting for someone else to validate your feelings or recognize your efforts, is the exact moment you step into your true power. The idea that nobody cares can feel heavy at first, but it can also be freeing, because when you finally stop living for the expectations of others, you begin to live in alignment with your purpose and your inner discipline. Life is a path that must be walked alone, no matter how many people surround you. They can only walk beside you for a while, but never truly take your steps for you. Every challenge you face, every decision you make, every fall, and every rise is entirely yours. And when you accept this, you no longer wait for a savior. You become your own savior. You wake up not because someone is watching you, but because your goals demand your attention. You train not to impress others, but sharpen your own mind and body. You push through the pain not to prove a point to anyone, but to build a version of yourself that you are proud of. People often say that they want to be understood, that they want others to see the depth of their struggle. But understanding from others is fleeting. Lasts is the understanding you cultivate within yourself. When you sit in silence and breathe with your pain. When you sit with your failures and do not flinch. When you recognize your fears, but do not bow to them. You begin to build a self-awareness that cannot be broken by the opinions or ignorance of others. This is where true growth starts, not in comfort, not in applause, but in silence and effort. There is no shortcut to inner strength, and no one will give it to you as a gift. It must be earned through consistent, disciplined actions, repeated over time. Each time you choose to rally, each time you choose to stay focused, each time you refuse the easy way out, you deposit strength into your character. The world may not notice the small daily choices you make, but you will, and those choices will accumulate like drops of water, filling a jar until one day you are overflowing with power, resilience and clarity. Too often we look around hoping for signs that we are on the right path. We want people to cheer us on, to say they believe in us, to say we matter, but when that applause does not come, we feel invisible. This is where many people give up, but you must understand, value does not decrease. Because others do not see it, your journey does not become meaningless. Because no one is watching, the tree grows in silence. The mountain stands tall, whether admired or not. The fire burns within, whether noticed or ignored. And you must live like that, with a fire inside. Does not go out just because it is not being praised. Growth is not loud, it is not something you post or announce. It is something that lives in the details, in the effort, in the consistency. The world might see the results one day, but you will always know the real story. The late nights, mornings, the sweat, the tears, the silence, and the moments when you almost quit but chose not to. And those moments matter more than anything else, because those are the moments when you were truly alive, when you chose to believe in yourself, when nobody else did. The truth is, nobody cares, not in the way you wish they did. But instead of letting that make you bitter, let it make you better. Use it as freedom, let go of the need for approval, and start living for the person in the mirror. Do it for the version of you that is tired of waiting. Do it for the peace you find after doing hard things. For the calm that comes when you know you gave your best. Do it for the confidence that builds when you keep promises to yourself. You do not need permission to become great, and you do not need applause to keep going. The world may not be watching now, but one day your discipline, your effort, growth will speak louder than any words. Until then, do the work in silence. Train your mind and body, stay focused on the path, and remember, you are not doing this for them, you are doing it for you. True strength begins to form. Life is a journey that tests every fiber of your being. It will throw challenges at you, obstacles that seem immovable, and days where the weight you carry feels unbearable. And in those moments, the natural human desire is to look around and hope that someone will step in. Someone will rescue you from the heaviness. But reality teaches us something different. The burden is yours and the climb is yours. And though people may offer temporary comfort, the real work is always done by you and only you. This truth is not meant to make you feel isolated. It is meant to wake up to your potential. Once you understand that no one is coming to do it for you, you stop waiting and you start moving. You stop asking why me and you start saying, try me, because every time you carry your own load, every time you refuse to collapse under pressure, every time you walk one more step, despite the pain, you grow stronger, more capable, more resilient. This is the path of the disciplined, not of the lucky, not of the gifted, but of the determined. Those who show up even when no one sees, those who persist, even when no one cheers, and those who rise without needing a hand to pull them up. There is a sacred power in doing things on your own, in building a mindset that does not crumble when things go wrong, in creating habits that serve you when motivation is gone. You have to understand that the world owes you nothing. And that is actually a blessing. Because when nothing is owed to you, everything you build becomes yours. Fully owned, fully earned, fully respected. There is no better feeling than walking into a challenge, knowing you have what it takes, because you've trained for it, suffered for it, sacrificed for it, and never took the easy way out. Discipline is not something born with it. It is something you forge in discomfort, in repetition, and in moments where you feel like giving up, but decide not to. When you choose discipline over distraction, when you choose focus over convenience, when you choose progress over excuses, you begin to shift your entire life. You become the kind of person who does not need to be pushed or reminded or validated, because your reasons come from within you. Do it because your goals matter to you, your peace matters to you, your potential matters to you, and your life deserves the best version of you, not the lazy one, not the fearful one, the one who chooses to keep going, despite it all. Most people live their lives in reaction. They react to emotions, to situations, to the opinions of others. They wait to feel ready. They wait for signs. They wait for inspiration. And that waiting becomes a habit. And that habit becomes regret. But when you understand that no one is coming to carry your burden, you take responsibility, and responsibility changes everything. It shifts your focus from blame to action, from complaint to solution, from helplessness to power. You begin to say, this is mine, and because it is mine I will carry it with strength, courage and with pride. You were not meant to be ordinary. You were not meant to live on autopilot and pass your days in mediocrity. You were born with the ability to grow, to adapt, to overcome, but that power is buried beneath your comfort, your doubts and your fears, and the only way to access it, through consistent effort, through showing up for yourself again and again, through doing the work that others avoid, and through carrying your own weight, even when your legs are shaking, even when your heart is tired, even when the world is silent. The most powerful transformation happens when you stop expecting the path to be easy and start training for the path to be hard, when you stop wishing for someone else to fix things and start becoming the person who handles things. When you stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. The world will not always be fair. Life will not always, kind people will not always support you. But if you learn to rely on your inner strength, if you commit to your goals, without conditions, if you show up every single day with focus and discipline, there is nothing that can stop you. This life is not about avoiding burdens, it is about learning how to carry them with grace, how to grow stronger through them, and how to inspire others, not by talking but by leading by example. So carry your burden not with resentment, but with resolve. Because every step you take with discipline becomes a step toward the life you were meant to live. And that life, waiting for you on the other side of every hard choice you make today, over each other just to be heard. There is something powerful about stepping back and choosing silence, because in that silence you are not lost, you are not empty, you are not invisible, you are simply listening. Listening not to the world but to yourself. And that is where your real strength lives. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They avoid it. They fill it with distractions, with conversations, with noise, because silence forces you to confront your own thoughts, your own insecurities, your own truth. But if you want to grow, if you want to become the master of your own mind, then you must be willing to sit with yourself in stillness, without the need to explain, without the need to perform, without the need to escape. Silence becomes your mirror, and what it reflects is raw, real, and unfiltered. In silence you begin to observe not just the world but your own behavior, your own patterns, own habits. You begin to ask yourself deeper questions. Who am I without the opinions of others? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when I am not trying to impress or fit in? And the answers do not come quickly, they come slowly, like whispers carried by the wind, but they are honest and they will guide you to a version of yourself that is not shaped by external noise, but formed from inner truth. People often believe that talking louder means strength, that being noticed means success, but the strongest people are not always the loudest. They are the ones who have trained their minds in silence, who have spent time alone, building clarity, building patience, building focus. These people do not panic in chaos because they have already faced storms within. They do not chase attention because they are already grounded in who they are. They do not react emotionally to every trigger because they learned the power of stillness and self-control. Silence also teaches you to listen to others, not just with your ears, but with your presence, because when you are silent you are fully there, and that presence can be more powerful than any words you could ever speak. Sometimes people do not need advice, they need your calm. Sometimes problems do not need noise, they need a clear mind. Sometimes the solution to what you are facing is already within you, but you are too loud to hear it. Silence brings the answers forward gently, quietly, but surely. When you practice silence, you start to separate what is essential from what is not. You stop wasting energy on things that do not matter, on drama, on gossip, on meaningless opinions. You begin to conserve your power. You begin to realize that you do not need to respond to everything. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to explain yourself. Everyone, your actions, your peace, your discipline, will speak louder than your words ever could. And when people notice your calm, your focus, your ability to remain centered in chaos, they will wonder how you do it. The answer is silence. You train in silence and you perform in public. You grow in silence, and the results speak for themselves. This is the power of inner work. It is invisible, it is quiet, but it is deep and lasting. When you learn to find strength in silence, you become unshakable, because the world can take away attention, applause, and recognition, but it cannot take away the mindset. Built in the dark, it cannot touch the stillness you cultivated when everything else was falling apart. So make time for silence, not just once, but often, not just when things go wrong, but every day. Create a space where you can sit, breathe, and simply be you. Will find that in those moments you reconnect with your purpose. You reset your mind, you renew your strength, and you come back into the world, not reactive, but intentional, not distracted, but focused, not anxious, but at peace. Do not underestimate the power of being quiet. Do not underestimate the strength that comes from simply sit with yourself in stillness, because silence is not weakness, it is wisdom, it is discipline, it is clarity, and in a world that is constantly shouting, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is listen. Listen deeply, listen honestly, listen patiently, not just to others but to your own soul, and in listening, you will find direction, you will find purpose, and you will find yourself. You cannot demand respect from the world until you respect your own mind and body. This is a truth that many ignore in search of external validation. People often want to be recognized, appreciated, and treated with honor, but they forget that real respect begins within yourself. It is not something you are given, it is something you attract, and the only way to attract true lasting respect is by becoming someone who carries themselves with quiet dignity, discipline, and self-worth. To respect your mind means protect it from negativity, to feed it with good thoughts, to challenge it to grow, and to train it to stay calm under pressure. Your mind is your greatest weapon, but also your greatest weakness. If left unmanaged, when you allow gossip, distractions, and doubt to take over your thoughts, you weaken your ability to lead your life with focus. When you let fear rule your decisions, you surrender your future to things outside your control. Respect for your mind is about choosing silence over chaos, reading instead of scrolling, learning instead of complaining, and thinking before reacting. It is mastering the space between stimulus and response, because in that space lies your true power. Your body is not separate from your mind. It is the vessel that carries your thoughts into action, and how you treat your body reveals the level of respect you have for your own life. When you neglect health, when you eat without awareness, when you sleep without routine, when you move without purpose, you are sending a message to yourself and to the world that you do not value the gift you have been given. Your body is not just something to be looked at, it is a tool, it is your armor, and it requires discipline to keep it strong. When you begin to respect yourself fully, you stop tolerating things that drain you. You stop saying yes when your soul is screaming no. You stop surrounding yourself with people who treat you like an option, and you start walking with the confidence that comes from clarity. This respect is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It shows up in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, and the way you protect your peace. You begin to set boundaries not to offend others but to protect your focus and your purpose. Respect is not something you beg for it is something you command, and the way you command it is by embodying it. When you respect your time, others will too. When you respect your values, others will learn to honor them. When you respect your growth, you will attract people who support it, but it all begins with you. If you do hold yourself to a high standard, no one else will. If you do not believe in your own worth, no one will do it for you. You cannot fake self-respect because the world can see through surface-level confidence. What matters is the energy behind your actions, and that energy comes from how deeply you believe in yourself. You also have to remember that self-respect is not perfection. It is not about being flawless. It is about being honest. It is about making mistakes, owning them, learning from them, and rising again, stronger. It is about not giving up on yourself when things get hard. It is about pushing through discomfort, not because you have to, but because you want to become someone you admire. Self-respect means you no longer allow your past to define you. You use it to shape a wiser you, a more grounded you, a more powerful you. When you build this relationship with yourself, people begin to notice, not because you ask for their attention, but because they feel your presence. Your energy becomes different, your voice becomes steady,
your choices become intentional, and your life begins to reflect the strength of your character. And even when no one claps for you, even when no one sees effort you put in, you will still walk tall because your respect for yourself will not depend on others. It will be rooted in truth, in action, and in discipline. So stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward for alignment. Make decisions that serve your growth. Choose habits that honor your future and walk the path with a steady heart, because once you begin to respect your own mind and body, the world has no choice but to follow your lead. And even if it doesn't, it won't matter, because you respect your strength, and your peace will be more than enough. Repetition creates transformation, not by accident but by conscious choice, by intentional action, repeated over time. It is not the grand gestures or one-time efforts that shape a person. It is what you do daily, without recognition, without applause, without shortcuts, that molds who you become. Many people look for quick results. They chase instant success and give up when it doesn't come fast. But those who understand the power of repetition know that true change lives in the quiet routine, in the invisible efforts, in the discipline to do the same small thing until it produces something great. Transformation is not something that happens in a single moment. It is the result of many moments, where you showed up when you didn't feel like it, where you practiced, even when you were tired, where you kept going, even when progress was invisible. This is the kind of effort that doesn't look exciting on the outside, but it builds something unshakable on the inside. Every time you repeat a positive action, every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you stay committed to your path, you are rewiring your identity. You are becoming the kind of person who does not stop, who does not break, who does not give up. It is easy to be motivated for one day. It is easy to make a plan. It is easy to start something new. But the real test comes when the motivation fades, when the excitement disappears, and all that's left is the routine, the repetition, the discipline. This is where most people quit. But this is also where winners are made, because the difference between those who dream and those who achieve is found in what they do consistently, not what they do occasionally. Repetition is the hidden force behind mastery, and mastery is what leads to lasting transformation. Your habits define your future, not your wish. Your rituals shape your results, not your intentions. When you understand this, you start paying attention to your daily actions, because everything you do regularly is either building you or breaking you. It is either leading you closer to your goals or pulling you further away from them. And the truth is, no one else can do this part for you. No one can build your habits. No one can show up every day on your behalf. No one can do the work that only you are meant to do. Repetition is not boring. When you have purpose, it becomes your practice. It becomes your sharpening stone. Every rep, every step, every small effort adds up. And even when it feels like nothing is changing, something deep within you is being built: a stronger mindset, a more disciplined body, a more focused spirit. And these are the things that carry you through life. These are the things that help you overcome challenges, that make it. These are the things that separate those who wish from those who win. There is a reason why the most powerful and focused people on earth have routines and rituals. They understand that doing the same thing with presence and intention is what builds character and control. They are not distracted by novelty. They are grounded in repetition, because they know that every time they repeat a meaningful action, they are deepening their skills, sharpening their awareness, and strengthening their willpower. If you want to become someone extraordinary, you must be willing to do ordinary things again, with extraordinary focus. Even nature teaches us this lesson. A river cuts through rock, not with force, but with persistence. The sun rises each day, without fail, and slowly shapes the world. The tree does not grow in a single day. It stretches upward, year after year. Repetition is the rhythm of life, and those who align with it, instead of resisting it, begin to experience true transformation. Not the kind that is loud and temporary, but the kind that is deep, quiet, and permanent. So do not underestimate the power of doing it again, of showing up again, of practicing again, because each time you are writing a new chapter in your story. You are becoming someone different, someone more powerful, someone more focused. And even when the results are not visible yet, trust that the process is working. Trust that repetition is sculpting a version of you that will one day surprise even yourself. Keep moving, keep doing, keep repeating, because the person you are becoming is being formed, one small step at a time. And if you stay consistent, you will look back and realize that the repetition that once felt simple was the very thing that changed your life complete. Your growth, because the seed does not shout when it becomes a tree. Your journey, your transformation, your progress does not need to be broadcasted. To be real, there is a quiet strength in those who grow in silence, in those who do not crave validation, in those who are not obsessed with being seen, focused only on becoming better, day after day. In a world where everyone is shouting to be noticed, there is something rare and powerful about those who are working quietly, those who are doing the inner work without the need to constantly prove themselves to others. The seed lies beneath the soil for a long time. It does not scream for attention. It does not ask for praise. It simply does what it must do. It takes root. It pushes through darkness. It absorbs what it needs and grows slowly and steadily until one day it breaks the surface. And even then it does not make noise. It does not announce arrival. It just continues to grow. And that is exactly how real transformation happens. The world may not notice your progress at first, and that's okay, because you are not growing for the world, you are growing for yourself. When you live with that mindset, you free yourself from the trap of approval. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop measuring your worth by how many people see your efforts or recognize your sacrifices. You begin to find meaning in the process itself, in the discipline, in the effort, in the pain, in the patience. And that is where the real reward is, not the applause, but in the self-respect that comes from knowing you are becoming stronger, more focused, and more honest with yourself. The applause will come, and when it does, it will be a reflection, not of what people saw, but of what you consistently built, when no one was watching. The recognition follow, but by then you will no longer need it, because you will already be grounded in your purpose, rooted in your discipline, and firm in your values. When you do not grow for applause, you become unstoppable, because your motivation is internal, not external. It cannot be shaken by opinions or silence or rejection, because it lives inside you where no one else can touch it. People who chase attention often burn out. They are constantly performing, constantly trying to impress, constantly adjusting themselves to be accepted. But those who grow in silence remain steady, because they are not performing, they are becoming. They are not pretending, they are practicing. They are not acting, they are evolving. And that is a kind of strength that cannot be faked and cannot be taken away. There will be seasons where you feel invisible, where it seems like no one understands the effort you are putting in. The world seems too distracted to notice how hard you are trying, but those are the seasons that matter most, because those are the times when your character is built, when your faith is tested, when your resilience is shaped, and when your spirit is hardened, not in bitterness, but in quiet strength. Tree does not stop growing, because no one claps for it. It continues to reach for the sun. It continues to grow, its roots deeper into the ground. It continues to expand, because that is its nature, and you must be the same. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep walking your path, even when no one acknowledges you, especially when no one acknowledges you, because every day you grow in silence, you are becoming the kind of person whose presence will one day speak louder than any words could. Let your success be the proof, not your noise. Let your results be the statement, not your announcement. Your actions be your introduction, and your discipline be your story. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone, because your growth is not a performance. It is a process. It is not about being seen. It is about being real. And when the time is right, your growth will become visible, like the tree rising above the ground, strong, silent, and unshakable. So, do not seek applause for your growth. Do it because it matters to you. Do it because it aligns with your purpose. Do it because you promised yourself you would, and let that promise be louder than the silence around you. Stay rooted, stay focused, stay humble, and one day you will realize that the silence you once feared was actually the space where you became powerful beyond words. So, grow without noise, build without needing attention, and transform without asking for applause, because real strength doesn't need to be seen to be real. Not here to perform for the world. You are here to become who you were meant to be. And that journey doesn't need an audience. It just needs your discipline, your patience, and your unwavering belief in yourself. One day your results will speak so loudly that the silence you grow in will sound thunder. But until then, keep going quietly, keep growing steadily, and keep becoming unshakable, silent.